continues.
Professor Hasan-Askari Rizvi is a visiting Pakistan studies professor at Johns Hopkins University. Professor, what is the political situation in Pakistan right now? Is President Musharraf in danger of being toppled?
Well, at the moment, he is under a lot of pressure, and for the first time since he came to power in October 99, he is vulnerable. So there is a serious pressure on him, and if this movement goes on, he can be in real trouble.
Why? Where did this pressure come from, and why?
Well, there has always been dissatisfaction against his government, but the opposition was divided and fragmented. But one incident, that is the incident of suspension of the Chief Justice, provided an umbrella cause to diverse groups that were opposed to him. And they came together to start a kind of a movement, a protest movement for independence of judiciary and the excessive use of power by the president.
Why was the Chief Justice removed, and who is he?
Well, this relates to the whole concept of governance in Pakistan. It's a kind of a semi-military government in Pakistan and follows the principle of centralization of power. For the last 1.5 years, there were indications that the Supreme Court was adopting somewhat autonomous role in the political system. That worried the administration, because this is the year of presidential election followed by the general election, and they thought that when cases go to the Supreme Court for adjudication of some contentious constitutional issues, the Supreme Court may not give a judgment adversarial to the president. Therefore, they thought of removing the president, but the Chief Justice, but that backfired.
And who is the Chief Justice? Tell us about it.
Well, Chief Justice of Pakistan is obviously the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. Previously, he was in the Balochistan High Court. From there, he came to the Supreme Court. Then he was appointed because of his seniority as the Chief Justice, and he had been functioning on this position for the last 2 years, and he was showing a lot of autonomy in his working and taking up cases which pertain to the rights of the people.
Is the Pakistan system similar to ours with 3 branches of government?
Yeah, it is similar, but there is a difference also, because US has the presidential system, whereas there you have parliamentary system, but the president in that parliamentary system is more powerful than the head of the state in the British system.
And including the president is allowed to remove the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court?
Under the Constitution, the president has no power whatsoever to remove the Chief Justice or the judges of Supreme Court or of High Court. There is a procedure laid down in the Constitution which has to be followed if the judges of the Supreme Court have to be removed. So President cannot in any way remove or suspend the Chief Justice.
So how was this able to happen?
Well, I think he overstepped. The president overstepped his policy, and that's what has really caused the problem. I think the president thought that when he summons the Chief Justice to his office and says that he has certain charges against him, he would like to refer his case for adjudication to a special council that deals with these issues, he would resign. But he refused to resign. He said, I'll fight the charges, and from there the crisis started. Otherwise, President cannot suspend the Chief Justice. There's no power with the President. So he overstepped his domain.
So the Supreme Court Chief Justice, his last name is pronounced Chowdhury?
Yes, he's Chowdhury, Iftikhar Chowdhury.
And what kind of support is he getting, and from whom in Pakistan?
Well, the main support coming to him is from the legal community, the lawyers, who feel that the independence of judiciary has been undermined, and they also feel that this case, which is President overstepping his constitutional power, has become a pattern in Pakistan, and that needs to be challenged.
And you said this is a presidential year. We're going to put the numbers on the screen in case you want to participate in this conversation on political unrest in Pakistan. 202 is the area code. 737-0002 for Democrats, 737-0001 for Republicans, and 628-0205 for all others. International line, for those of you living outside of the U.S., 202-628-0184 is the number for you to call. You said this is a presidential year. Does President Musharraf face significant opposition?
Yes, the presidential elections are to be held in September and October, and President Musharraf wants to be re-elected. He faces two kinds of problems. One is the political opposition, which has become very strong since this issue came up, that is the removal of the Chief Justice. Second, there are a couple of constitutional questions involved in his re-election, because he also holds the office of the Army Chief. And then there are a couple of constitutional questions, whether as an Army Chief he could contest the election, whether the exemption given to him was one-time exemption, or that exemption covers for all the period he stays in office. So these are the constitutional questions which will come up before the Supreme Court, I think, in a month or so.
Who's his political opposition?
Well, there are diverse groups. There is no single group. There are a lot of groups. On the one hand, you have the mainstream political party, like the People's Party led by Benazir Bhutto. The other party is Muslim League, one faction of the Muslim League, led by former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Then you have some other parties. On the other side, you also have the religious Islamic political parties who are also opposed to General Musharraf. So it's a very diverse group who have got together on the question of the treatment given to the Chief Justice.
But Benazir Bhutto isn't even living in Pakistan, is she?
That's the problem, that two of the major adversaries of Pervez Musharraf, Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, they are living outside of Pakistan, and Musharraf doesn't want them to come back. And unless they come back, there will be a serious question about the legitimacy of the elections, that is general elections as well as the presidential elections, which are to be held later this year.
Lead story in the New York Times: U.S. pays Pakistan to fight terror, but patrols ebb. It talks about large payments of money to Pakistan for what it calls reimbursements to the country's military for conducting counterterrorism, even though Pakistan's president decided 8 months ago to slash patrols in the area where Al-Qaeda and Taliban fighters are most active.
I think that there are two kinds of comments which can be made on this news. First is the categories of economic assistance which the United States is providing to Pakistan. One category is the economic assistance. This also includes assistance for institutional capacity building and training. Second, assistance goes to the military, that is equipment and other things which Pakistan is purchasing from the U.S. Third category is that Pakistan is also getting some money for the services which the American troops are using in Pakistan. The U.S. has two small airfields in Pakistan under its control. For that they pay Pakistan. Then there are certain support facilities which are provided to the American troops in Pakistan, and also relating to the activities which they do in Afghanistan. Funding comes for that also. And now, so far as the other aspect of the news, assistance is, for counterterrorism is concerned, Pakistan is a partner with the United States in counterterrorism, but the differences are not on the goals but on the strategies, because some of the policies which Pakistan pursues for counterterrorism are not really up to the expectations of the United States. The US wants a more firm action against the Taliban, which cross over and come to the Pakistani side, or from Pakistani side they go back to Afghanistan. So US wants a very firm action against them, and Pakistani government had its own limitation and does not go up to the extent the US expects Pakistan to do.